Welcome everyone to Buried, an interactive, choice-based text adventure. Now, I'm going to let you know right now, before we jump in, there will not be a whole lot of gameplay for this. As I said, it's text-based. So, why don't you crank up your audio and get ready for the ride of your life. I open my eyes, and the first thing I want to do is scream. I'm flat on my back and everything seems to hurt. The trees overhead look familiar. It's a clear night sky. Almost beautiful. Except for the fact that this means I've been out cold for at least 6 hours. But there's something wrong. I don't remember what, but something happened and... my head. My God, my head hurts. And a ring in my ears. Was there an accident? An explosion, I think. I remember Dennis screaming, but after that I can't remember. As I sit up, I notice that my hard hat has been thrown off. I look around the area, but it's not here. It feels strange to go anywhere without my hard hat, but I've got to find the other members of my crew. They could be in danger. I'm gonna go and search for my hard hat first, just because if there's an explosion... If I was wearing a hard hat before, that may have saved me from dying. So, safety first. I get up on shaky legs and look around for a moment. A few nearby trees look to have been splintered and broken at the base recently. They certainly weren't like this earlier. Searching for the hard hat feels normal. It makes me feel like maybe there isn't something wrong here. I see it behind a fallen log about 10 feet away from me. How it was thrown so far is beyond me. Driven by nothing more than habit, I walk over to it, pick it up, and place it on my head. Next, I walk over to the center of the logging site and don't like what I see. Oh my. The logging site looks like a bomb was detonated right in the center. I don't know where to start. The one load we had managed to stack on a truck for the day is overturned. The trailer bent and the logs hang off the back. Where the hell is everyone? My head is killing me and there's a ringing in my ears. I can't hear anything. Not birds, not my footsteps, nothing. It makes me wonder if I hit my head after my hard hat flew off. I run through a quick mental checklist to make sure my brain is still working. My name is Roger Hastings. I'm 41 years old. The year is 2017. I own a small logging company, and we've been logging in this strip of Kentucky woodland for almost a month now. Okay, so my brain works. That's a relief, but it almost makes me fearful, because something is certainly not right here. I look around the logging site, my mind trying to figure out what has happened. Just about every piece of equipment has been overturned or tilted. I'm gonna check the debris. There are bits of debris everywhere. There are fragments of the 5-gallon bucket I keep our work rags in, a loose saw chain, and an overturned gas canister. Had there been an explosion? All the fuel on site would have Had there been an explosion, all the fuel on site would have started a fire. But there's no charring, no burning, nothing. I walked through the area where Dennis had been working. From the looks of it, he'd been moving slowly. He'd only taken down 4 trees today. His metal lunchbox is open, an indicator that he had been taking an early break. But he's not here. No one's here. Where the hell is everyone? I could try to make a call on my cell phone, but its battery is already running low. Not that it matters, the reception is crap out here. I'm gonna yell out. If I only have enough battery for like 1 or 2 calls, it really should be used to get authorities out here and not to check to see if my coworkers are like injured. This is a logging site. I have legs, I can walk. Hey guys! Where is everyone? Tony? Dennis? Frank? Joe? but their names fall flat among the wreckage. I get nothing back other than scaring a few birds overhead. Might as well start walking and try to find some answers. The highway is almost a mile back through the woods, down the gravel road we used to reach the site. Maybe the crew ran that way for help. But why would they have left me? Were they scared? Out of sorts? Maybe I can catch up to them. But with my truck turned over on its side, it looks like I'll be waiting. Or I'll be walking. My God, I can't even remember what I was doing before waking up on my back. Wait, what's that underneath the bulldozer? Oh my God, it's a leg. It has to be either Tony or Dennis. The dozer looks unstable, like it might roll some more. Might not be safe to get close, but at the same time, I can't just leave him there. I gotta go check. If there's even the slimmest chance that I can save him. I can't leave someone to be crushed to death. Hey! I yell. Are you okay? You alive? Holding onto my hat, I skip over the wrecked equipment and stray logs get closer. I can see a bit more of the leg. The jeans are soaked in blood. I recognize the work boots. It's clearly Tony. His leg is bent at an impossible angle, nearly crushed flat. The closer I get, the more apparent it becomes that Tony didn't survive. Look. It's unstable. It could roll at any moment. And pulling him out would not do any good. He's gone. There's nothing I can do for him now. I'm leaving it alone. There's nothing I can do for him now. I start to back away slowly. In my shock, I stumble back, suddenly tripping over one of the stray logs. My head collides with one of the logs as I bite the ground, but my hard hat does its job. Thank God I decided to look for it earlier. But what's more startling is realizing that Tony is dead. Looking at him, I feel something rising up in my throat, and I don't know if it's a scream or vomit. But I have to push it away. If I lose my cool right now, there are too many questions that will go unanswered. Shit. I can't believe this. Tony, he had 2 boys. He coached his oldest son's baseball team. He was the hardest worker I had and was one of the most honest and reliable men I knew. This isn't right. I can't stay here. I have to find Dennis, Frank, and Joe. I have to find out what happened here. As I walk through the stacks of logs from the last week or so of work, everything feels frozen. This high-pitched sound in my ears. It's terrible. It keeps happening every few seconds, and sounds like it's coming from far away. I can't help but wonder, is it my ears? Or is it something else? The silence out here is creepy, and there's a smell, like the atmosphere after a bad summer storm. I might as well admit it, I'm a little scared. Everyone is missing, and it's dead quiet out here. There doesn't even seem to be a breeze to rustle the leaves and branches. My right knee hurts like hell. My head was hurting so bad before that. My head was hurting so bad before that I never even noticed the pain in my knee. I must have heard it during the what? Accident or... Wait. Is that Dennis? I see him sitting on the ground, motionless, about 30 feet away. I'm gonna yell out to him. There's no point in, walking up behind him and, jump scaring him. I'm gonna make my presence known. Dennis! I yell. Dennis, can you hear me? Dennis lets out a shout, like someone waking from a nightmare. He then looks back at me from the ground. Yeah, Roger, I hear you. He hollers back as I head over to him. Dennis is built like a wrestler and has the tough personality to match, but in this moment, he looks disoriented and even a little anxious. Though I'm glad to see him, the fear on his usually confident face is alarming. What the hell happened? What's going on? He asked. Don't know. The crew is missing. Missing? Dennis says. Where do you think they went? I'm not sure, I say. But it has me pretty freaked out. Something's not right here. Still sitting on the ground, he looks around the woods, as if he's just now understanding the severity of the situation. The equipment was overturned. The dozers too, I say, shifting my hard hat and wiping my forehead. You okay? I ask him. Yeah, just shaken up. Me too. This might be the most intimate conversation Dennis and I have ever had. While he and I have always been on good terms, we've never been particularly close. I've always respected him, though. Sure, he's come to work a few times looking like he's been in a bar fight the night before, but I've also seen him do an enthusiastic impression of a dinosaur as he played with Tony's kids while they waited for their dad to finish up his shift. It's then that it hits me. Dennis and Tony were good friends. I'm not sure I want to rattle him with the news of Tony's death right now. Not before we know what's going on. But he has the right to know. No, he has the right to know. Tony's dead. You were upfront with Dennis about Tony. Dennis's eyes fixate on me, startled. He was crushed under the dozer, I say. Dennis pauses for a moment, like he's trying to understand what I said. His eyes narrow and his bottom lip quivers. Shit, he says. And I can tell he's fighting back tears. He and Tony had been tight, almost like brothers. Hey, he adds quickly, as if trying to escape the reality of Tony's death. Did you see that light? No, I say. What did you see? I don't even know, Roger, he says. It was like this flare of white light. It came right up out of the ground, like an explosion. So there was an explosion, I say. Maybe it was some equipment, or... This was no equipment, Dennis interrupts, agitated. This huge ball of light came right out of the damn ground. I mean, this is a strange question because it's a huge ball of light. Where did it go? It just shot up into the sky until it was out of sight. When? I'm not sure, he answers. But I had finished about 10 trees for the day, and was about to top one. That's when it happened. You were almost done with 10 trees, I ask? Yeah, he says, looking at the ground. You know, I wouldn't want to take a lunch break until it was done. And that's when the light blew up. Why? You don't believe me? And that's when the light blew up. Why? You don't believe me? No, I believe you. That's weird as hell. You believe Dennis's story. He saw what he saw, I think to myself. He has no reason to lie about this. My God, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine, he says. But if I'm being honest, it scared me pretty bad. And if it's all the same to you, I'd like to get the hell out of here. We both stand up and start heading towards the road. It isn't until we start moving that I see Dennis is wounded. There were splinters of it here and there, but also a very large red splotch that makes me worry. I don't really care how he got the injury because we just established giant explosion. Are you in a lot of pain? I've been better. I don't know how much longer I can stay on my feet, he says. What happened, I ask. I'm not sure, Dennis replies. I must have gotten thrown or hurt somehow from that light. It's then that I notice that the strange ringing noise is filling the air. Hey, I say, stopping. Do you hear that high-pitched ringing noise every once in a while? Dennis looks scared when I ask him this question, and he just nods. I thought it was just me, he says. He looks out of sorts and uncertain. I've never seen him like this before. It's obvious that he's looking for some reassurance. Even though I'm his boss, there's something very unnerving about this. We'll be okay. It's probably nothing. There's no point in freaking him out. Let's be realistic, I tell myself. I might as well try to be empathetic. Out here in the middle of these woods, the ringing could be anything. Maybe a car alarm from the woods or something. Still, even my passive comment seems to have reassured Dennis. He looks a bit calmer and more relaxed, We both start moving forward and don't say another word. Did you try to call Frank? Dennis asks. I know he had his cell on him today. Not yet. Luckily, I still have some battery left. I pull out my cell and call Frank. Happy I didn't make the call to Dennis earlier. It rings, but he doesn't pick up. But then I hear his phone go off, behind a stack of logs. Dennis and I give each other a look. As the phone goes to voicemail, I hang up, and we walk behind the logs to find Frank's phone on the ground, abandoned. We look around for Frank, but find nothing, not a single trace. It's then that I notice something really odd, a 10-foot wide hole in the ground, right near where his phone was. But there's no stray piles of removed dirt or rocks. It's clean, smoothly dug, cutting into the earth, wide, but only a few feet deep. It looks unnatural, like the ground was just deleted. No shovels or diggers used. Dennis walks over to it. This looks like the same kind of hole where I saw that light come from the ground, he muses to himself. I say nothing. My mind is spinning, but I don't know what to think. We need to get out of here, Dennis mutters. At that moment, the ringing noise carries through the forest, again, sending a shiver down my spine. Dennis is right. There's something strange going on, and we might not be safe here. But that ringing sound could be a clue to where. Could be a clue to where the rest of the crew went. See, now this is the problem. We really need help. Whatever that explosion was, it's not natural, and I do not know if it'll happen again. We need to get the hell out of here. I can find my crew members later, but if Dennis and I run into something out here, or if the explosion happens again and we get caught in it, we'll be dead and useless to help anyone. So we're getting out of here. You decided to avoid the sound. With that, we turn and start walking to the west in the direction that I'm pretty certain leads to the road. It's sort of embarrassing. I've been a logger for nearly 15 years, but I'm finding it easy to get lost in these woods. The trees are so thick in places that the moonlight doesn't even reach the ground. It's easy to get turned around. My only hope is that I can find the overgrown dirt road that will lead us back to the highway. You sure we're headed the right way? Dennis asks. Pretty sure, I say. I turn to him and see that he's clearly in pain. It's at this moment that we come upon one of those smooth holes. This one is even stranger because a nearby tree also has a chunk out of it. The arc goes smoothly through the ground and then up through the trunk, like a cartoon wrecking ball blasted through both of them. What the hell are these things? Dennis whispers to himself. He takes a step down into the hole, his boots creating imperfections in the shape like footprints on a sand dune. I'm gonna walk around the perimeter. I walk along the edge, each step sending pebbles down into the hole and ruining its perfect shape. I'm amazed at how smooth it is. Even rocks that were under the earth have been sheared to fit the spherical shape. But as I'm noticing this, I notice Dennis's feet start to sag. Dennis, get out! I start, but don't get to finish. Before he can react, the ground is giving way and he's falling. I try to step back, but the fissure that opens up disintegrates the ground beneath my feet as well. I cry out in surprise and can barely hear Dennis letting out a curse as we go down into the earth. Oh my. The fall isn't a long one, but when I hit something a few seconds later, it hurts like hell. The wind goes rushing out of me when I hit, and a sharp pain flies through me. What the hell? I say once my breath is back. Beside me, Dennis is slowly rolling over to get to his feet. I look up and see the hole in the ground where we fell through. It looks to be about 10 feet over our heads. It's completely dark, but there's a small flicker of light further into the cave ahead of us, and a solid wall of rock behind us. Looks like the only ways out are further down the cave or up through the way we fell in. Dennis might be able to boost me up there, but with his injury, I'm not sure how stable he is. He might drop me. Let's head into the cave. I decide we better not risk hurting ourselves trying to climb out. As we turn to head into the cave, I take a closer look at the light further ahead and realize it's artificial. We both start heading towards it instinctively. As we step into the light, panic gently gnaws at me because what I'm seeing makes absolutely no sense. It's no longer a cave or a hole. It's a long, sparsely lit corridor. It's a massive corridor, in fact. It seems to go on forever. This corridor is mostly dark, with emergency lights every 10 feet or so. I turn to my left and see that there's a door which appears to lead upwards to the outside, but it's locked tight. I push as hard as I can, but no luck. Dennis, help me with this, I say. He comes over and we both try to kick the door open, but it doesn't budge. For some reason, someone doesn't want people getting out of here. Looks like we're headed down the hallway. I'm gonna tiptoe. I don't know who's down here. I feel like a ghost. Like I truly have no business being here. Dennis leans on me for support. We move slowly, our feet not making a sound. If anyone is in here, I want to make sure they don't hear us. We tiptoe forward as softly as we can. As I carry Dennis to the far end of this otherwise featureless place, I see a flight of concrete stairs leading down. I have to set Dennis down on the floor. His weight is killing me. Dennis, are you okay? Stop worrying, man, he says. I'll be okay. I just need a minute to rest. But looking at him, I'm not so sure. I can still hear the ringing noise every so often, coming from somewhere in here. I look ahead at the concrete stairs, pointing towards them so that Dennis sees them. Can you make it down those stairs? I ask. He stands up slowly and is visibly making an effort to not fall back down. Yeah, he says, and sounds a little irritated. He starts for the stairs without me, and I have no choice but to follow. We approach the stairs, and by just looking at them, I get the sense that we're crossing some sort of line here. There may very well be no going back. As I head down the stairs, I notice that they look aged. That damned ringing noise is somewhere below, louder than ever. I feel like I'm walking down into the cellar of a haunted house, the light becoming scarce as the stairs take a slight turn. I can feel the temperature drop. Dennis makes it a few steps down before he's leaning on the wall. He's breathing like he's just finished a marathon. I'm gonna give him a break. There's no point in forcing it because he's already injured. Let's take a break, I say, putting my hand towards his shoulder to help steady him. Dennis lets out a sigh. Thanks. I don't feel too great, boss. As we both squat down on a stair, my mind seems to lock in on the unknown fate of the rest of my crew. Frank is married, and I've met his wife a few times. A nice woman with a huge laugh. My heart sags a bit when I realize I might never again get to hear him belting out classic rock tunes during lunch break. Joe, well, I don't know too much about him. He's 22 years old and is considering community college. His folks are deadbeats, so he's been providing for himself since the age of 16 or so. Maybe I can still find them, and still get to hear Frank singing in his deep baritone voice after a few too many drinks. After a few moments, Dennis says, "Alright, let's keep going." We both stand up, leaning on each other. I have to make Dennis stay behind me as I stick my foot out in search of the next step. I can't help feeling like a child as a very powerful fear seizes me. I'm expecting a monster to reach out of the darkness, slicing into my throat. After what feels like forever, we come to the bottom of the stairs. We're closer to the ringing noise now. The door sits securely in the wall and looks just as out of place down here as I feel. A sliver of light seeps through, illuminating the area. The door has what looks like a panel with lots of labels and lights. Small embossed print above the panel says Level 1 Entrance Gate, Transport Sector. And there's a button with no label. I'm inspecting the panel. I don't know what this button does, so no thank you. The panel looks like a diagnostic or alert system of some kind, each label meant to communicate some status. Lockdown engaged, experiment in progress, shutdown engaged. Those all appear to be off, but one of the phrases has a slowly blinking red light next to it, the only powered light on this whole thing. Abnormal entity breach. What the hell? I slowly push the door open when Dennis suddenly steps in front of me, taking the lead. Let's go, he says. I want to find out what the hell this place is. As Dennis walks through, that ringing or beeping or whatever it is gets a little louder. The door closes behind us with a click. I can't help but notice the wobble in Dennis's step as he lets out a grunt. You sure you're healthy enough to keep going, I ask? It doesn't matter. I don't want to be in the woods right now. He seems scared. Something I've never seen before. Angry, yes. Upset? Yes. But Dennis is never scared. What did you see? I don't know what it was, boss. It was like someone had left a radio on, crackling, but we don't have any radios at the site. It was, I don't know. It was like something in the forest was moving. I give him a doubtful look and he casts his eyes to the ground, frustrated. I know how it sounds, he says, but I know what I felt. It was like walking into a funeral parlor, feeling death and gloom everywhere. I've been so preoccupied with my own fear that I nearly forgot about the ringing noise. It had become just background noise. We take a few more steps, and I can now see where we are. It makes no sense, yet another thing that simply seems out of place. The shapes and muted colors of metal are easy to identify, but it just doesn't belong here. End of Chapter 1. Well, we will continue this in another episode. Now remember, there are 5 chapters, so that means 4 more episodes. If you like this, feel free to leave a like and comment how I did. You know, if you made any different choices, feel free to tell me and why you made those choices. Do they have like a telltale thing with like tell me what I was doing? Like a list of things I did? Okay, so they do. Respect the dead. You and 36% of players left Tony's body where you found it. Secrets. You and 76% of players were upfront with Dennis about Tony's death. Trust. You and 55% of people told Dennis you believed his story. Curiosity. You and 25% of players ran away from the ringing sound. Okay, so... See, now this is weird, because... So for half of my choices, I'm in the majority. But for things like Respect the Dead and Curiosity, where I left Tony's body, or where I did not explore the ringing sound, I'm actually, like, everyone decided to not do that. So I don't know why. So yeah, if you made choices that are different from mine, please, if you want to, I implore you in the comments to tell me what you chose and why, because... You know, the way I'm playing this, I'm playing it, you know, how I would react to certain situations. So it'll be fun to sort of compare notes and see what everyone did. But we will pick this up in episode 2. So without further ado, roll the outro. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, feel free to leave a like or a comment down in the comment section below. And why not subscribe and join the Cub Collective today? And if you have a friend or family member that you think might enjoy my content, feel free to recommend me to them. That being said, I want to thank you all again, and I hope to see you all in the next one. Goodbye for now.